Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I'm sure you've all heard those words before by Peter Drucker. How about culture is your brand? I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I only heard this one a little bit more recently, but those words of Tony Sehow really did resonate with me and the personal values that I have. It's the coming together of these two quotes that really does summarize my session today. Ultimately, as a captive shared service organization, we are a people business. And I personally believe that culture is the magic that makes our business successful. It is my pleasure to be here today to talk about how our brand has impacted our organizational culture. And I'm Emma Darby, and I lead the HR, strategy and comms function within Voice, which is Vodafone's GBS. So I'm going to start with some numbers. I know it's quite unusual for a HR person to talk about the numbers, but it really is a nice way to summarize the size and the scale of our organization. Since this slide has been created, we've actually tipped over to over 30,000 employees. We grow by about 3,500 roles a year, and that equates to roughly about 5 people an hour that I need to hire within my team. But being a people business, the development of our people and their skills are vitally important, and our people take that seriously. They think about the skills they need now and in the future, and you can see that by nearly 400,000 learning hours being done last financial year. But our people care about more than just work. They want to work for an organization that has a purpose. And they really do take part and drive forward our CSR initiatives. And we have impacted over 550,000 people's lives by what we have done. But I want to talk a little bit about how did we manage to get to Voice. Well, the journey started back in 2006 with one process in one centre in Egypt. But by 2013, we were a multifunctional, multi-centre organisation. And by 2017, we had actually evolved into global vertical lines, that we were running services across multiple centres, and we had moved away from our centre-based model. It is from there that we really started to focus on how do we drive total value for the group. And within that preceding 10 years, we had driven over 1 billion of value. That we had started to focus on how do we drive the digital agenda for Vodafone, and ultimately that we were focused on delivering business outcomes. It is through that change of focus that the organization started to recognize the impact that we were having. We were more than just a shared services. We were more than just the services and the processes that we were delivering. That we could actually add greater value to the group. And with that, the concept and the license and the mandate for us to create our own brand, our own identity, and our own culture was given. And back in 2020, we launched Voice as a brand. I just want to take a moment to describe what do we do as Voice in today's organization. We start off with the normal back office services, HR, finance, legal, fraud, SCM. We move on to customer experience and how we impact the end customer of Vodafone in both consumer and enterprise. But we also have COEs in digital sales, in marketing, in data and analytics. We have a digital practice. We have a central office focused on program and project management. And we also have a technology organization. Within digital and IT, we support through IT operations, software development, testing, as well as our cybersecurity. And we also support our networks. We have network engineers, and we also have a number of our NOCs based out of our Voice centres. So ultimately, Voice supports all parts of Vodafone in some shape or form. I want to move on and show you a video that we showed at the launch of the Voice brand back in January 2020. It was our opportunity to say to our employees that this is a time that we're changing, that we're moving away from being a shared service organisation to something more. That video still gives me chills. I actually started my role in December 2019, and we launched the brand in 2020, and it really brings me back to that moment when I was in Romania and we had that launch. Previously, we'd been known as Vodafone Shared Services, VSS for short, but how did we manage to get to Voice, Vodafone Intelligent Solutions? Well, it all starts with the underscore, and I consistently get asked, have you made a mistake? You put a typo into your email? The answer is no. The underscore is an intrinsic part of our brand. We underpin Vodafone. One of our slogans is "We power Vodafone" with what we do. The VO, well, there's no prizes for guessing. That represents Vodafone. At the end of the day, we're a captive organisation, and we are still part of the parent company, and we need to keep that connection to Vodafone really strong. And then we move on to intelligent solutions, and it's bold for a reason. We didn't want to just be remembered for doing services. We wanted to feel and believe that we are using intelligent solutions. We are listening to our partners, what are their business problems, and how do we work together to find a solution to deliver the right business outcome to progress Vodafone. At the time of our launch, we also came up with a manifesto. This has been really shortened down, but it actually starts off with, "The world never stands still, and neither do we." When that was come up with in 2019, nobody imagined the changes that each and every one of us would experience over the coming years. And it actually set us up for the future that we were going to live, that we recognise that change is going to happen and that it's a good thing, that it impacts the community, the employees, and the organisations, that it ultimately impacts the end customers of Vodafone that we're there to serve. And that as an organisation, Voice needs to move. And we're asking our partners and our employees to move with us, come with us on that journey. We then move on to our vision. Vodafone actually itself went through a rebrand at that time. The purpose of Vodafone is the purpose of Voice. We are still Vodafone. We connect for a better future. We connect with our partners. We connect with our customers. Our Voice ambition is to be that partner of choice for talent, technology, and transformation. And I just want to focus on one word there, choice. In Vodafone, our partners have the right to choose to use us, to keep it onshore, or to go to a third party. And we want them to choose us. Our strategy? Well, our strategy focuses on actually bringing all of these things together. That we have the right talent and people in our organisation, that we use the technology and we transform the business. We had 10 shifts to begin with, We have been flexing those shifts up and down based on the changing needs of the organisation. We were very focused on talent and people at the start of this journey. We are now uplifting and moving back towards the transformation agenda that we had to put on pause for a little bit during COVID. But ultimately, we are at our best. We do the best for Vodafone when we can scale and when we can scale at speed. And that is the heart of our strategy. And it is underpinned by the spirit of Vodafone. This is our USP as voice. We are Vodafone. When we come to work with you, we hold the same values, we hold the same culture, we speak the same language. And therefore, when we partner together, we feel like one organisation, because ultimately we are. The difference in the voice culture is that we really brought to life this 100% human agenda. The concept was created pre-COVID, but we had to dial it up really quickly during that organisation and that worldwide change. It starts with purpose, the Vodafone purpose, that people feel that they can belong, that they belong to a community, not just a centre, not just a service line, but that we support our D&I agenda through the different organisations that we have. That somebody can come to work and do the best job possible. I believe everybody comes to work to be amazing, but you can only be amazing when you bring your whole self to work. And with that, we give them emotional and mental health support. More recently and more importantly has been that financial health. How do we support people in those hyperinflation, devaluation of currency markets, that they feel that they have the basic things that they need to live? And physical and digital health, personally, I'm not great at that. But that's hugely important, that we as leaders bring our whole self to work, that we lead from the front on this agenda, that we are authentic in recognising what we're good at, where do we need to improve. And that gives our people the licence to do that also. But it all comes together with one of my first points in that number slide. How do we skill people for a life? Not just the role they're in today, not the job that I want them to do tomorrow, but the job and the work that they will do in the future, beyond voice and beyond Vodafone. That when they come to us and when they leave us, they have a bigger personal impact, a bigger impact on their family, on their communities, and on society as a whole, and that we're able to develop people as full human beings. Now, this all feels like a lot of rhetoric. I will actually show how we've brought this to life through some of the photographs and what we have done. You'll see in these images, our people are immensely proud to come together with voice, that they can represent voice at Pride events, that they can take part in CSR initiatives that I referenced earlier, that they can come together and create those communities and live the culture. And one of the things we've found as we've brought people back to the office, they want to get their photo taken with some sort of image of voice in it. And that those images are some of the most that are posted on social media. 61% of our organisation has started with us since COVID. Most of them joined remote. Most of them, the culture was felt through Teams, through emails. As we have been coming back to work, how do we make that culture feel real? How do we actually make it a reality that people feel, can touch, can connect to? We started rebranding our offices back in 2020. Very quickly, we had to stop. But it was important that as we were driving that return, that when people came to the office, that the office is what they had connected to. So we have gone through a huge rebranding of every single one of our sites across the 8 countries that we're part of. And that through that, we're representing our spirit. Small things do matter. That we've got the voice brand, that we've got our slogan, that we represent the diversity of our business as we go through that. that we celebrate the local culture, whether it's Diwali, Ramadan, Christmas, in our offices, but that ultimately, through our global service lines and through our global organisation, the golden thread that brings it all together is our brand and is our culture. One of the things I see posted on LinkedIn the most is a really simple happy anniversary email that me and my team send to every employee. And people take screenshots of it with that voice brand at the top. But every time they post it, I am proud that they're bringing that 100% human agenda to life and that they're showing what it's like to be part of Voice. We do this in our social media. You know, we had to move away from the Vodafone social media. It was important in some of our markets where the Vodafone footprint was changing and is continuing to change today. But that we bring it to life through our people. We are a people business. We only go external to attract best talent and people for our organisation as Voice. And who better to do that than people telling their own stories? That they're telling the stories through our Women in Voice networks, our accessibility networks, what they have done in their careers and how they've progressed. We have a lovely video of a care agent talking about her story and how she's progressed through our organisation since she's joined. But what next? Oh.
Dynamic.
Sorry, can we move back? Sorry, that's me getting a bit clicker happy. So innovation, our innovation journey has been one that is at the heart of what we do. I know yesterday you heard about the metaverse. We've brought that to life. We had our first Pride event in the metaverse this year. We've used the metaverse in youth recruitment. We have a small team, and by small, I mean less than 5 people. And those 5 people interact with our wider organisation to make technology 2, 3, 5 years out a reality in our experiments today. We have a citizen developer programme. If we really, truly want to automate beyond the software developers and the big programs that they can do that are limited, we need to give the tools and empower all of our employees to be able to do that. So our citizen developers, we're going to have a hackathon in the next few weeks to remind them and encourage them of all of their tools at their fingertips. And with that, we have a Nova platform. Every employee has the ability to put forward an idea on how we can innovate. And their peers can vote on those, and that the best ideas actually get put into real life. And the person who put forward that idea is part of that journey. But you've listened to me speak now for over 20 minutes. I've hopefully brought the Voice story to life. I've talked about how our brand was used to drive our strategy back when we launched them both in 2020. I've talked about how the brand and the culture really do come together. And that is basically what makes our organisation special. And I've talked about how our people both live that brand and that culture every single day. Hopefully you'll see in the Voice story that our culture is the life and soul of our organisation, that our brand is the lifeblood. For me, the two things always need to work hand in hand. A great brand drives a positive culture, and a positive culture drives a great brand perception. And with that, you attract the best people, you retain the best people that your organisation needs, and that helps you grow and succeed in the future. You could even say that culture is our brand, that our brand is also our culture. But I don't want to leave you with those cheesy words. I want to leave you with the words of the people that matter most, our people. I can't do today justice versus what you will see in this next video from our people talking about what it's like to be part of Voice. Thank you.
Dynamic.
Empowering.
Supportive.
We'll try something new, even if we fail, that's okay.
We'll always focus on the one thing which can make the miracle happen.
If If you have a great idea, if you have a vision or ambition, nobody's going to stop you.
I'm able to interact with people all over the world is really, really amazing.
If you believe that you are fast, we are faster.
This is an organization where the only constant thing is change.
I feel like I'm learning new things every day.
Voice creates a family-like culture. It's a second home for us.
We have this paternity leave program in which we can take 16 weeks off.
That time period is really awesome.
You can opt for flexible hours, you can look at for work-life balance.
Our health and our families and personal life is always a priority.
With other companies, you could have a job, but with Voice, what you could have is a career.
There is a wide opportunity to move from one location or one team to another. It feels like a new company every day.
I've never felt that I cannot do something.
As a woman and as a female leader, you can really, really thrive within this organization.
Diversity and inclusion for all, it's one of the important values from our culture, and it's not only on paper.
Voice is definitely a great example of an employer who treats everyone equally.
We want to use the power of our people, engage them to make a change in society and to the planet.
Since the first day I joined Voice, I got a huge support from the people here.
Everyone is truly welcomed, accepted, respected.
You can really accomplish your dreams here.
Emma, thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful. So many questions. I'll just keep it to about 3 or 4, but then we can answer the rest at a later stage. How do you track and collect the value you provide to the organisation?
It's a really good question. I think it starts with actually our Spirit Beat survey that we do twice a year. And that gives the opportunity for our employees to really link to the culture. And is that culture what they're seeing from both leadership, their teams, and the wider organisation? And I'm really proud that Voice has always been in that top quartile, and our scores are some of the highest in our organisation. The other aspect is our employees each year take part in Great Place to Work, and the independence of that makes it even more special than the Spirit Beat. And for 3 years in a row, we have now achieved Great Place to Work in 5 of our centres, and we haven't got it in the others because we haven't gone around to do it yet because of the newness that the centres have taken place. So I think that's one way that we check that culture. We also really encourage a speak-up culture. If people see that something isn't right, we want them to talk about it, and we take each and every one of those seriously. And that gives people the freedom to feel safe, to flag if something isn't right. And as leaders, it gives us the opportunity to recognise and do something about it.
Thank you. Very good one. You mentioned how the identity has led to an increase in our innovation. Could you expand on why you think this is?
I think when we were just Vodafone Shared Services, everybody kind of thought about it as we're just outsourcing, we're kind of offshoring. The fact that we moved it to be intelligent solutions got people to think about being part of an organisation that was much more, and being able to connect that it doesn't matter how simple your idea is, that actually you could make it a reality. One of the things we encourage is actually people to put up their hand and say, my job or what I do could actually be automated or could be made more efficient. And that's why the whole Skills for Life is hugely important to us, that we can continually develop and move that flywheel forward. We're kind of coming to the point that there's more ideas out there than what you can put through the big system, the big IT stacks. And I think how the organisation and the world around us is progressing with generative AI, with robotics, but equally with the tools that are at the fingertips of everyone, means that we can unlock that power even more as we drive the Citizen Developer Programme as well.
Thank you. You mentioned that your internal customers can choose to use Voice or not.
Yes.
However, is this reality a real choice? Have you seen internal customers move away?
So unfortunately, I think within my first 6 months in Voice, we had a major escalation from one of our biggest customers. And it was one that actually was right up to the CEO level of that customer, because it was impacting their own customer experience. And they were finding the churn of their customers was higher than they expected. They started to move work away from us. But we call our customers partners for a reason. We started to work out what really was driving that. That we had high attrition, but we had high attrition because actually the occupancy rates of our care agents was too high. We could only solve that together. We couldn't do it as individuals. So absolutely, our partners have the choice to choose, and they can choose each year through our financial planning process as well. It's harder in some services than it is in others, but ultimately the choice is there for each and every one of them.
So moving away from Vodafone brand by introducing Voice, did this affect the talent attraction?
So, yes, I think it's had its positives and its negatives. So Vodafone is a huge global brand. Can Voice ever compare to it? No. Are we striving to? No. But when I look at how Vodafone is perceived, it's perceived as a telco. Some of your best tech talent in India don't want to come and work for a telco. They want to work for what is a techco. So it's actually been able for us to reposition ourselves in each of our markets based on how we want to be seen and what way we want to attract our talent. It hasn't been easy. At times we have challenged and questioned if we could use Vodafone more, would it unlock more? But we've been successful in the growth story that we've had and that consistent growth. And for me, it's about making sure that that really continues to land both internally and externally. And it's those brand ambassadors, most importantly our people and the people that work with us now, but have also left us, that go out there and say we're a great place to work, that bring the talent into us.
Fantastic. We'll go for one more. I'm trying to end on a high, but that sounds all amazing. Were there any elements that didn't work or you might have done differently?
So I think if we hadn't had COVID, our journey and our story would have been very different. You can see when we created the brand and the light blades and talking about light and energy and change and move, we really wanted to focus on that transformation from day one. And we had to slow that down. People mentally had too much change going on. We needed to recognize that. Personally, I think it's probably worked for the better because we've managed to reach the hearts and minds of our employees, and therefore now it's easier to move forward in that transformation journey and take it with them. But we would have spent a lot more time in person, really living and breathing that culture, if we had been able to do it differently.
Brilliant. Well, it certainly established itself as a brand. Emma, congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.